Ladies and gentlemen, in life, the people around us play a crucial role in our happiness, growth, and well-being. Not everyone in our circle genuinely cares about us. Some individuals are present for convenience, self-interest, or personal gain. Recognizing these behaviors is essential to protecting our emotional and mental well-being. Today, we will explore 8 behaviors commonly displayed by people who do not truly care about you. When you look at the dynamics of any relationship, one of the most glaring signs that someone does not genuinely care about you is when they only reach out when it serves their own purpose. These people are often absent when you're in need, but will suddenly appear when they require help, advice, or assistance from you. This behavior is not only frustrating, but emotionally draining, as it showcases a significant lack of reciprocity in the relationship. This pattern of behavior is typical in relationships where one person sees the other as a resource rather than a partner or equal. In such situations, you may find that you are always the one initiating communication, planning meetings, or offering support, only to be met with silence or indifference when it's your turn to need help. When the tables are turned, these people may have excuses, be too busy, or simply not respond at all, leaving you to deal with your issues on your own. The problem with this one-sided dynamic is that it often becomes normalized, and over time you begin to tolerate it. At first, you might dismiss the inconsistency, telling yourself that they are just busy or going through something. But as this pattern continues, it becomes harder to ignore. You may begin to feel used, as if your presence in their life only has value when you are offering something to them. Furthermore, the act of reaching out only when they need something shows a lack of genuine interest in your life growth and well-being. They do not check in with you to see how you're doing or ask about your struggles or successes unless it somehow ties back to their needs. This behavior is rooted in selfishness, as the relationship revolves around what they can gain rather than what they can contribute. It's also a clear indicator that they are not emotionally invested in the connection, and that they are not willing to make the effort to nurture a balanced, healthy relationship. People who only reach out when they need something may also fail to acknowledge your efforts when you help them, whether it's with advice, time, or resources. They often do not show appreciation or gratitude. This lack of recognition makes you feel like your contributions don't matter and that your efforts are only valued when it's convenient for them. Eventually, this can lead to feelings of resentment, as you may start to feel taken for granted. At times, you might even wonder if these people truly care about you or if they simply view you as a means to an end. This thought is not unfounded. In many cases, individuals who exhibit this behavior may only view the relationship as transactional, where your value to them is directly linked to what you can offer them. If this pattern of behavior continues unchecked, it can lead to a toxic relationship dynamic, where the one-sidedness becomes emotionally exhausting. Recognizing this behavior is vital for your emotional health. It's essential to understand that true relationships are built on mutual respect, shared effort, and genuine care. In a healthy relationship, both parties reach out to each other not just when they need something, but also to show interest in one another's lives. People who truly care about you will reach out just to check in, celebrate your milestones, or offer support when you are struggling, not only when they need something from you. The problem with people who only reach out when it benefits them is that they drain your emotional energy without providing anything meaningful in return. Over time, this leads to a sense of imbalance, where one person gives and gives, but the other only takes. This imbalance can result in feelings of isolation, as you may begin to feel that you are investing in someone who is not willing to invest in you. It's also worth noting that this behavior can manifest in subtle ways. Sometimes these people won't outright ask for help, but they will start conversations with statements like, "I'm in a tough situation," or "I've been having problems lately." These are often preambles to requests for assistance, which they may not directly ask for, but expect you to offer. They might expect you to notice their needs and come to their aid, but will never reciprocate the same care when you find yourself in a similar situation. The key takeaway here is that relationships should not be about taking without giving. Healthy relationships require effort from both parties. If you find yourself constantly being the one to initiate contact or offer help, while the other person is only reaching out when it serves them, it may be time to reassess the relationship. It's crucial to establish boundaries and recognize your worth. Your time, energy, and attention are valuable, and you deserve to be surrounded by people who care about you for who you are, not just for what you can offer. Over time, you will learn to prioritize your emotional well-being, and by doing so, you will attract people who respect and value you. True care in a relationship is mutual, and it's important to let go of connections that drain you in favor of those that bring balance, support, and love into your life. Underscore, 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 underscore. Underscore, 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 underscore. Underscore, 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 candy, 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 small girl. This expanded explanation highlights how someone who only reaches out when they need something is displaying a self-serving, one-sided dynamic in the relationship, which can lead to emotional strain and feelings of being unappreciated. It emphasizes the importance of reciprocity, mutual effort, and maintaining healthy boundaries in any relationship. One of the most telling behaviors that someone does not genuinely care about you is their consistent failure to keep their promises. Promises, big or small, serve as the foundation of trust and reliability in any relationship. When someone makes commitments but continually fails to follow through, it signals a lack of respect for you and your time. It can also indicate a deep disregard for the bond you share. When promises are broken, whether it's about something as simple as meeting up at a specific time, or something more significant like supporting you through a difficult period, it erodes the trust that holds a relationship together. Over time, this kind of behavior builds a pattern that undermines any sense of security in the relationship. Initially, when promises are made, you may feel excited and hopeful, trusting that the person values their word, but as they consistently fail to deliver on their promises, the disappointment grows, leading you to question their sincerity and commitment to the relationship. At first, broken promises may be brushed off as accidents or understandable mistakes. Everyone slips up now and then, and it's possible to forgive someone for failing to follow through occasionally. However, when this behavior becomes a pattern, it is no longer a matter of coincidence. It becomes a clear sign of disrespect. and a lack of care for the impact their actions have on you. It's not about the specific promises they made, it's about the underlying message that their words have no weight and they do not hold themselves accountable for their actions. When promises are regularly broken, it can leave you feeling unimportant, as if your time and feelings don't matter. It creates a situation where you start to doubt whether this person values you as much as you value them. If they are constantly making plans and not showing up, or agreeing to help you and failing to do so, you begin to question whether they are even considering your needs. Well, they're on for this, you know. Mr. Thomas Smith is a misuse of impossible plans. This uncertainty can have a profound emotional impact, especially when you are the one consistently showing up and following through on your commitments to them. The imbalance between what you give and what you receive begins to feel more pronounced, and the emotional toll begins to weigh heavily on you. What makes broken promises even more painful is the fact that they usually come with an excuse. You may hear that they were too busy or that something came up, and while these excuses can sometimes seem valid, they often sound hollow when repeated over time. The frequency of these justifications further compounds the sense that the person is not taking responsibility for their actions and is instead making excuses to avoid facing the reality that they failed to keep their word. It also suggests a lack of real effort to prioritize your relationship, as if they believe their own circumstances always take precedence over yours. In many cases, those who frequently break promises do so because they do not understand the impact of their actions. They might not realize how their behavior undermines the foundation of trust, or they may simply be indifferent to how it affects you. For people like this, words are cheap. They may casually agree to things without considering the real consequences of not following through, and they often fail to recognize that their failure to act leaves you in a vulnerable position. This lack of awareness or empathy can be deeply frustrating, as it makes you feel as though your needs and feelings are insignificant to them. However, it is essential to recognize that a pattern of broken promises is not a mistake. It is a reflection of their values and priorities. Someone who truly cares about you will take the time to fulfill their commitments, no matter how small. When promises are broken, they take responsibility and offer genuine apologies rather than brushing it off or making excuses. They understand that keeping their word is vital in maintaining trust, and they actively work to ensure they follow through. If someone continues to break their promises, it is clear that they do not view their word as something that should be honored, which means that your trust in them can no longer be relied upon. This kind of behavior can also leave you feeling emotionally drained. You may feel like you are constantly giving, being the one who shows up, and making sacrifices, while the other person is indifferent to the value of your time and effort. Over time, this sense of emotional exhaustion can take a toll on your mental well-being. You may begin to feel unappreciated, as if the person is not taking your feelings seriously. You might also start to question whether it's worth continuing to invest in the relationship, especially if the person is not willing to meet you halfway. Breaking promises not only damages trust, but also creates an emotional distance between you and the other person. Every time a promise is broken, it chips away at the emotional connection you share. As trust erodes, so does the closeness and intimacy that are essential in any meaningful relationship. The emotional distance can eventually grow so wide that it becomes difficult to bridge, leaving you feeling isolated and unsupported. It's important to recognize that people who frequently break promises do not deserve your continued investment. You are worthy of relationships where your time and trust are respected. When you are constantly let down by someone who does not keep their word, it's a sign that the relationship is not as valuable to them as it is to you. It's crucial to acknowledge this imbalance and make the decision to prioritize your own well-being. You deserve relationships where promises are kept and where people take responsibility for their actions and value the bond you share. Where someone repeatedly breaks their promises, it is not a sign of care or respect. It signals a lack of commitment and a disregard for the impact of their actions on your life. Trust is foundational to any relationship, and without it, the connection becomes fragile and ultimately unsustainable. If you find yourself in a relationship where promises are consistently broken, it's important to reassess the dynamic and decide whether continuing to invest in that relationship is in your best interest. One of the most telling signs that someone does not care about you is when they are constantly too busy to spend time with you or make you a priority. When someone is perpetually too busy for you, it's natural to feel overlooked and undervalued. Relationships require a certain level of effort and attention from both parties. If one person consistently shows no initiative in maintaining the connection, it suggests that they are not emotionally invested in the relationship. Relationships thrive on shared experiences and quality time spent together, and when one person is unwilling to make time for the other, the connection weakens. Emotional intimacy requires consistent effort, and a person who is truly committed to you will make time for you even if their schedule is busy. They will prioritize the relationship by finding moments to check in, offer support, or simply enjoy each other's company. It's also important to recognize that time is a finite resource, and how someone chooses to spend their time speaks volumes about what they value. If a person claims to be too busy for you but is always available for their other commitments, it shows that you are not a priority in their life. They may be filling their time with work, social engagements, or other obligations, but the truth is that if they cared enough, they would find a way to balance these responsibilities and still make space for you. The act of making time for someone is not about finding perfect, uninterrupted hours to spend together. It's about showing that you value the person and are willing to invest time and energy into maintaining the connection. Another aspect to consider is how this constant too busy behavior can begin to impact your own self-esteem. When you continuously reach out to someone who never seems to have time for you, it can leave you feeling as if you are not important enough to deserve their attention. It can make you question your worth, as if the other person is deliberately neglecting you because they don't care. This repeated rejection, even if it's unintentional, can have a significant emotional impact, leading you to feel neglected, unappreciated, and isolated. As this pattern continues, you may begin to feel resentment build up. You might wonder why you always have to go the extra mile to make plans or offer support, while the other person never reciprocates. This sense of imbalance can lead to frustration as you are left constantly giving while the other person takes little initiative. Eventually, this emotional burden can lead to burnout, where you feel drained by the lack of effort on their part. It's crucial to understand that when someone is always too busy for you, it's often a reflection of their lack of emotional availability or commitment. People who truly care about you will make an effort to stay connected, even if they are busy. They will send a quick message to check in, apologize for not being able to meet, or suggest a different time to hang out. The effort may not always be grand, But the consistency of that effort is what matters most. A person who cares will not simply let weeks or months go by without making any attempt to reconnect or spend time with you. Furthermore, being too busy for someone often extends beyond just physical availability. It can also refer to emotional availability. If someone is too caught up in their own world to listen to your problems, offer emotional support, or engage in meaningful conversation, it indicates a lack of investment in the relationship. A truly caring person will make time to listen, provide comfort, and show interest in your life, regardless of how busy they may be. In the end, you deserve to be with people who value your presence and make you a priority in their lives. While it's true that everyone goes through busy periods, consistent neglect and excuses can only be ignored for so long. Recognizing when you are being sidelined and taking steps to protect your emotional well-being is crucial. You deserve relationships where time, effort, and emotional investment are shared equally. If someone is consistently too busy for you, it's important to reassess the relationship and determine if it is truly serving your best interests. Surround yourself with people who prioritize you as much as you prioritize them, and who show through their actions that you are a valued part of their life. In any meaningful relationship, it is essential for both parties to take joy in each other's accomplishments and celebrate the good times. When someone truly cares about you, they will feel excited, proud, and happy for you when you achieve success, whether big or small. However, a clear sign that someone does not care about you is when they fail to celebrate your successes, or worse, downplay them. Instead of offering congratulations or showing interest in your achievements, these individuals may ignore your milestones, belittle them, or even show signs of jealousy or indifference. This lack of support during your moments of success speaks volumes about how much they value the relationship and your personal growth. At the core of this behavior is a lack of empathy and emotional investment. People who care about you will take the time to recognize your hard work, celebrate your victories, and encourage you to keep going. Their happiness for you is genuine and sincere, and they make it known that they are proud of your achievements. But for those who are indifferent, the celebration of your success does not exist. They might be dismissive of your accomplishments, shrug them off, or make comments that subtly diminish your joy. For example, they may say things like, "Well, it's not that big of a deal," or "Anyone could have done that." These kinds of remarks not only negate your hard work, but also leave you feeling unappreciated and unsupported. This behavior can manifest in various forms. If you achieve something significant like a promotion, an academic achievement, or a personal goal, the person may act uninterested, even when you share the news with excitement. Instead of joining you in the celebration, they may quickly change the subject or make a comment that turns the focus back to themselves. This reaction reveals a level of insecurity or selfishness on their part. If they are unable to be genuinely happy for you, it may be because they feel threatened by your success or struggle with their own sense of inadequacy. If someone never takes the time to recognize your accomplishments, it can begin to feel like they are taking you for granted. You might start to feel as if your efforts and hard work are invisible to them, leading to frustration and resentment. It's important to acknowledge that celebrating each other's successes is a fundamental aspect of building trust and emotional closeness. When someone refuses to acknowledge your milestones, it communicates that they are not invested in your growth or happiness. Instead of feeling motivated or supported, you are left feeling isolated, as though your progress is irrelevant to them. This lack of celebration can be particularly hurtful in close relationships. When a friend, partner, or family member fails to recognize your achievements, it creates a sense of emotional distance. Instead of feeling supported and validated by the people you care about, you feel like you are on your own, striving to achieve success without the encouragement or recognition that should accompany it. Over time, this can erode the sense of connection that once existed. If your success no longer brings joy to the people you care about, it can leave you questioning the depth of the relationship and whether it is worth continuing. Another aspect of this behavior is how it reflects on their own feelings of self-worth. People who are truly happy for you want to see you succeed, and they see your success as a reflection of the positive energy and effort you put into your goals. However, when someone is not genuinely happy for you, it may be because they are struggling with their own sense of inadequacy or jealousy. They may feel threatened by your achievements, especially if they are dealing with their own insecurities or unfulfilled aspirations. This emotional reaction can lead to bitterness or resentment, and it prevents them from being able to share in your joy. In such cases, a lack of celebration becomes less about you and more about their internal struggles. If you are constantly met with indifference or even negativity when sharing your accomplishments, it is essential to evaluate the impact of this behavior on your well-being. Every person deserves to be in relationships where their successes are celebrated and their hard work is acknowledged. When someone fails to acknowledge your achievements, it can cause a significant emotional strain. It's not about seeking praise or approval, but rather about sharing your joy with someone who should care enough to appreciate it. Relationships should be a source of mutual support, and a key part of that is uplifting one another during moments of success. It's also important to note that the failure to celebrate your successes may extend beyond just a lack of verbal acknowledgement. Sometimes it can be reflected in their actions or behaviors. They may not take the time to offer a congratulatory gesture or even a small sign of appreciation. In contrast, someone who genuinely cares will go out of their way to show their support, whether it's through a celebratory message, a thoughtful gesture, or even taking part in the celebration itself. The effort they put into acknowledging your success reflects how much they value you and your relationship. In the end, the inability to celebrate your successes is a significant indicator of the true nature of a relationship. If the people in your life are consistently different to your accomplishments, it's a sign they don't value you as much as you deserve. Relationships should be built on a foundation. It's crucial to surround yourself with people who take pride in your successes, as their support and encouragement will help you continue to grow, succeed, and find fulfillment in your journey. One of the most insidious tactics used by people who do not genuinely care about you is the manipulation of guilt. Guilt tripping is a form of emotional manipulation where someone attempts to make you feel responsible for their feelings or actions in order to get what they want. This strategy is not only unfair, but it also erodes trust and respect in a relationship, leaving you feeling burdened, powerless, and confused. People who engage in guilt tripping often try to make you feel like you owe them something, whether it's your time, effort, or resources, and will use emotional appeals to make you comply with their desires. At first, the guilt tripping may not seem overt. A simple comment like, "I can't believe you're too busy to help me," might seem like a harmless statement. However, over time, these comments become more frequent and pointed. They may imply that you are selfish or uncaring for not meeting their needs, making you feel like a bad person if you do not comply with their requests. Instead of being able to make a decision freely, you feel like you are cornered into fulfilling their wishes because you fear the emotional fallout if you don't. This tactic is particularly manipulative because it preys on your natural empathy and desire to be seen as a good person. Most people, at their core, want to help others and be there for their loved ones. So, when someone makes them feel guilty for not doing so, it can trigger feelings of shame and obligation. And this emotional weight can make you feel like you are constantly walking on eggshells, second-guessing your decisions and unsure of how to navigate the relationship without upsetting the other person. Guilt tripping is especially damaging because it creates an unhealthy dynamic in the relationship. The person who is using guilt as a tool does not respect your boundaries or your ability to make decisions that align with your own needs. Instead, they are trying to control your behavior by preying on your emotions. They are essentially trying to hold your emotional well-being hostage to get what they want.